My name is Ethan Cole, Denver, Colorado. I came to the Amazon to capture a thumbnail that would pay the bills and shut up the voices that remind me the algorithm doesn't forgive. The title was already lodged in my throat. We filmed the biggest anaconda in the Amazon. The river was a slab of black glass, the canopy a lung breathing above our heads. The drone rose like a prayer with propellers. Mateo, my fixer, laughed in that nervous register you only hear when courage barely fills a shot glass. The forest rangers didn't laugh. Camargo tipped his chin toward a slick, oil-dark eddy and delivered 4 words at the weight of a verdict. "If the water asks, leave." I nodded with the American arrogance of someone who doesn't speak the language of consequences. Silence arrived like a blade. Birds swallowed their own songs. The air took on the taste of pennies. The skin of the river lifted one finger without wind. Through the lens, it was perfect green, feed-friendly. To the naked eye, a darker curve slid underneath a smile that never ends. "Ethan," Mateo whispered, "she's here." I leaned over the gunnel before my brain signed the release. The head broke the surface, coin-old eyes. Nostrils angled skyward, a black tongue cutting the air into strips. The anaconda rose another handspan and pressed against the hull with the manners of someone straightening a chair in their own living room. The wood moaned. The river asked for silence again. I didn't pay. "Don't touch," Camargo said at the volume of someone who's already buried a hasty gringo. The engine died on purpose. We sat in someone's palm. She slid beneath us. The hull scraped muscle like the hinge of a cursed door. A white scar, deep, stitched one ring. Queen. A second snout split the reflection, smaller, darker, a comma following a capital. 2. The river shrank inside my chest. The drone whimpered, returned to home. A kennelled dog's bark. The lens, my faithful traitor, crept forward with its own hunger. The Queen aligned her head with my hand on the rail. Her tongue tasted the air where my pulse hammered. My blood learned a new language for be quiet. 2 of Camargo's fingers touched my shoulder like a blessing. "We'll stay," I said. 10 seconds. "No," he answered. It wasn't a word. It was a door slamming. Now. The river drew our hull into the throat of a corridor, between sawgrass and a fallen trunk. A doorway sized for people who think they're bigger than they are. The Queen escorted us, head out, body in, that scar flashing whenever light found it. The smaller one watched behind, eyes above the line, a witness for when we lied later. "Do not cross between them," Camargo said. "They're not 2. They're an answer." I swallowed the American reflex to test every fence. My hands went flat on my knees. The camera stayed red on my chest, and the water, in the day's last second, raised a hump in front of the Bowen invisible back and whispered the refrain that would haunt me for months. "Leave. Now." We didn't turn the boat. The river turned us. The corridor narrowed. Any big gesture would be disrespect. The Queen bumped the flank, pushing us a handspan out of the shadow. She set the visitor's chair. The drone's little hum trembled in my hand like a chicken heart. On the tiny screen, the water curved before the bow, something sleeping, bearing our weight by accident or lesson. "God," Mateo said, and the river refused to say, "Amen." Rangers appeared on the bank. 2 cutouts of people stitched to the green. One raised his arms, not to threaten, to negate. The shout arrived whole. "Volta, leave now." The words slammed my sternum like a boot on a door. In my head, I edited, "Rangers told us to leave, we didn't." In my gut, something older wrote, "Your thumbnail could be your last frame. 20 more meters and," I began. "And what?" Camargo cut in. "You came to see, you saw. Pay and go." We swung a 3-beat apology turn. The Queen slid ahead and blocked our line. A mountain dragged across the asphalt. The forest dimmed the light. Far off, otters screamed like kids with knives. A coin of sun sloughed from the canopy and spun on the water. On the bank, human fingers had raked 4 parallel grooves into the mud, descending a plea the shore decided to keep. "They leave hooks here," Camargo growled at no one. "The river returns what's his." My camera framed it like art. Shame stood on the bench, breathing down my neck. The bull shivered. The Queen exhaled through the world. I thought about the cut. Where do you end a moment that isn't yours? I thought about the comments. Closer. I thought about my father's watch ticking on my wrist like a countdown. The second ranger's voice sliced the air. "Leave now!" Sometimes life has one correct button. Camargo pressed it. The river permitted it. And when our stern slipped out of the water's command, the smaller one rose just enough to give me the shot I didn't want, but deserved. Coin old eyes saying, "You almost blew it." On the wooden ramp, a yellow bulb buzzed, kerosene living in our clothes. I dropped into a plastic chair and let shame nest in my breastbone. Camargo handed me a chipped enamel mug. "You've got a good eye, gringo. Use it to know when not to look." I explained thumbnails, CPMs, overdue bills, a hungry algorithm. He shook his head. "Some things exist because nobody films them wrong. That's what you saw." My American metabolism had no drawer to store that sentence. Near dawn, the generator coughed, died, returned. My camera woke like a sleepwalker. The LCD flickered 3 seconds of black, then a frame I never shot, an empty bank, 2 parallel tracks climbing the mud, a cut bottle with a paper tucked inside. The pen wobbled word, Volta. I carried the card to the water, gave it back. The river swallowed without applause. The jungle doesn't hand out likes. At sunrise, the sky opened a blue letter between leaves. I typed the title that prints money. "We filmed the biggest anaconda. Rangers told us to leave." Deleted. Tried. "She let us go." Preachy. Tried. "If you hear, leave now, leave." Too small. I shut the laptop and let sleep produce. Woke up with the cut written, the hull's groan, the river's low throat, Camargo's now, the boat bowing like a man bowing to a queen. No teeth, no scar macro. No muddy hand in close-up. The mob would gnash, the right ones would stay. Offers swarmed like mosquitoes. TV wanting exclusive. A podcast asking for details. A gear brand offering to sponsor a backpack that never carried guilt. I said no with a new voice. The video went up. First comment bit, cowards. Second scratched, closer. Third hit bone. Thanks for leaving. Viral is a creature that eats you if you feed it wrong. This time, I fed it something that wouldn't kill me. In the frame I kept only for myself, Camargo raises 2 fingers to the water neighbor's greeting. The queen's scar catches the leftover light. The smaller head learns the choreography of power. The river erases our wake until it looks like we were never there. No music, no narration, no watermark. A lesson written in a language older than my channel and younger than the fear that made my finger shake on upload. If you want horror, it's not in the teeth. It's in the math of how little you matter. It's knowing something beneath the hull can move your day an inch and own your life forever. It's an order repeated twice at the right volume. Leave. Now. It's the silence after you obey, when you realize you almost didn't. That's the clip. That's the hook. And it's American enough to trend for the right reasons. Instinct, authority, a line you don't cross. Weeks later, 3:11 a.m., my phone flared my bedroom like a match. The gallery opened by itself to a photo that doesn't exist. The skin of the water, 2 tracks in the mud, a bottle with a note. Volta. The screen went dark. Sleep didn't. I lay there measuring my breath against the memory of a tongue tasting the pulse and deciding I wasn't worth the force. She didn't spare me. She arranged the world, so I didn't need to die to learn. That difference matters. Closer cuts went viral on channels that live on the wrong. I watched with the distance a burn victim has for fire. In my comments, someone wrote, "Show the snake." Someone else replied, "He did." The Rangers never emailed. They don't follow, they lead. You either accept it or become a thumbnail none of us should see. When TV called, my lower third said what fits and what counts. Ethan Cole, left when told. That's my whole bio now. If one day you find yourself under a breathing ceiling, with water lifting a finger and people on the bank crossing their arms in an X, hear my voice inside yours. Your audience can wait. The river can't. Leave now. If this story moved you, subscribe now. New survival stories, real-time expedition breakdowns, and hard-earned rules drop every week. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one.